You're doing everything you were told to do. You got the degree, you landed the job, you've got the direct deposit hitting every other Friday like clockwork. And yet, you're still checking your account on a Tuesday morning with that familiar hollow feeling in your chest before the screen even loads. You aren't broke exactly. You're just never as far ahead as the math should allow. There's a name for what's keeping you there. A cycle designed to consume everything you earn before you ever get a chance to think about it. Understanding the consumption trap is where this starts. The trap doesn't announce itself with a warning sign. It starts the moment your first real paycheck lands. It doesn't begin with a bad decision. It begins with a feeling. The feeling that you finally earned something. That the years of school, the applications, and the entry-level grind have finally added up to this specific number. And this number tells you that you can now live like it. The upgrade feels like a reward, and rewards are supposed to feel good. So the apartment gets a little nicer. Nothing extravagant, just better than the one you had in college, which feels reasonable after everything you put in to get here. The car gets more reliable. The groceries shift from whatever is cheapest to whatever you actually want to eat. The wardrobe updates slowly, one reasonable purchase at a time. None of it feels like overspending because none of it is dramatic. It is just life adjusting to match your income. Then the raise comes. Maybe it's $5,000. For a few days, the number feels significant. You do the math. That's real money. That's movement. That changes the picture. And then the same thing happens again. It is quieter this time, almost automatic. The lifestyle absorbs it. Within 6 months, the raise is gone. Not wasted on anything you'd be embarrassed to name. Just consumed cleanly and completely by a life that expanded to meet it. Here is the hidden cost. Every dollar absorbed by a lifestyle upgrade is a dollar that stops working for you permanently. It doesn't just disappear in the present, it disappears in the future too, because it never got the chance to grow. This is the consumption trap. It isn't about lattes. It is about the structural drift that happens when your spending rises in lockstep with your income year after year. So that no matter how much more you make, the gap between what comes in and what stays never actually widens. Currently, the average household carries heavy debt. Not because people are reckless, but because the trap is the water everyone is swimming in, and nobody ever mentions the water. Escaping it doesn't require deprivation. It requires seeing it clearly first and then making a fundamentally different decision about what the next raise actually does. That decision separates two people who started at the exact same place, at the exact same time, with the exact same paycheck. Their names are you and Marcus. You both got hired the same week at the same mid-sized logistics company. Same starting salary, same onboarding packet, same gray cubicle on the 3rd floor with a window that faces the parking garage. From the outside, the starting line was identical. Marcus gets his first paycheck and does what feels natural, what feels earned. He leases a 3-year-old Silverado. He pulls into the garage on a Monday morning, and something about that feels like proof. Evidence that the grind was worth it, that this chapter is different from the last one. The truck says so. People notice. They always notice. You get the same paycheck. You sit with it a little longer. You're still driving the used car you bought in college. It has a crack in the windshield you keep meaning to fix. You park it next to the Silverado and you feel the gap between the two vehicles like a physical thing. It's not shame exactly, just a quiet awareness that from the outside, this doesn't look like progress. But you open your HR portal and do something Marcus doesn't. You set up 2 things. First, you contribute enough to your 401k to capture the full company match. Free money, sitting in a footnote of the benefits email that most people on your floor deleted without reading. Second, you set up an automatic transfer of $150 every payday into an index fund. That's it. That's the whole decision. By 26, Marcus got a raise and moved into a nicer apartment with a gym. His raise was absorbed cleanly into a life that expanded to receive it. Your raise went somewhere different. Half into the 401k, half into a high-yield buffer. From the outside, Marcus is winning. He looks the part. He moves through the office with the ease of someone whose life matches his income. You look like you're standing still. But the $150 transfer has been running for 2 years without interruption. The index fund has done what index funds do. Nothing exciting, nothing dramatic, just compounding forward through the noise. The gap between you and Marcus isn't loud yet, but it is real. Nobody handed you a manual. Most people build their financial life the only way they know how. They earn, they spend, and they try not to go negative. That's defense. And defense alone doesn't build anything. Most financial advisors start with the 50-30-20 rule, but the secret isn't the percentages. It's the order. Most people save what's left after everything else. Whatever's left is usually nothing. Flip it. The 20% moves on payday. Everything else works around it. The ceiling is built by 5 things that work quietly in the background. First, compounding. Your money earns returns, and those returns earn returns. Given enough time, the math stops feeling incremental and starts feeling like something else entirely, like the work is happening without you. Second, time, which is the one input in this entire equation you cannot buy back. Third, leverage. Not debt, but systems, automations, and index funds that multiply your decisions without multiplying your hours. Fourth, ownership. A paycheck is income that stops when you stop. An asset is something that generates income on its own. The wealthy accumulate assets, equity, and ownership stakes in things that keep producing value while they sleep. And fifth, taxes. A Roth IRA lets your money grow completely tax-free. These accounts are doors built directly into the tax code, and most people walk past them every year without noticing they're there. Moving from thinking like a consumer to thinking like an owner is the shift that makes the rest possible. The difficulty is making that shift inside a life that is constantly pulling you toward the visible scoreboard, the truck, the apartment, the clothes. The lonely middle is longer than it looks, and it has no audience. You set up the automations, you flip the order, and the world acts as if nothing happened. Then, the stress test arrives. An ordinary Thursday morning, the calendar invite appears. All staff meeting. By 10:30, you and Marcus are carrying cardboard boxes through the lobby. But the moment you reach your car, you check your accounts. The number you built quietly gives you something Marcus doesn't have. 9 months of runway. Marcus takes the first job he finds. He doesn't have a choice. The Silverado payment is due. He takes a role for less pay. You take 9 months of actual choice. You turn down the lateral moves. You consult nobody, because nobody around you has been in a position to make that call. You let the number do what you built it to do. The job you eventually take pays more. But something has shifted. Not confidence exactly. A steadiness that comes from knowing the floor is there. A few months later, you open your account. Your monthly contribution is $380. But last month, the portfolio generated more than that on its own. Your money made more money than you put in. That's the tipping point. The moment the portfolio starts doing more work than you are. You aren't a player on the board anymore. You built the board. What that means arrives on a Tuesday night. Your mom calls. Your dad is in the hospital. You book the next flight. You reserve a hotel open-ended. You don't check your balance. You don't have to. You sit in the waiting room for 5 days. You are completely present. The money handled every problem money can handle. That is what the Tuesday morning transfers were for. Not the balance. The freedom to show up when it counts. You didn't out-hustle Marcus. You just understood that the decisions nobody sees are the only ones that compound. The form that took 15 minutes, the transfer running before you woke up, the 9 months you built in silence. None of it had an audience. That's why it worked. Pay attention to when the upgrade presents itself. The newer phone, the bigger apartment. The pull is the consumption trap still running. The knowing doesn't make it easier. But here is the question that belongs to you. When the floor gets tested, will it hold?